All right, welcome. So thank you all so much for being here today. First, we just want to lead again with appreciation and thankfulness for you taking a few moments out of your day. We all know it's a difficult time for so many as we deal with this pandemic, which has affected so many of us, and we're all adjusting to work from home, and many of our offices are closed. So thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day to join us here. We're extremely excited for our third in a series of webinar demonstrations of our new released Clearview Property Tax Suite. Today, we will be discussing and demonstrating Clearview Valuation Manager. We'll be explaining how Clearview Valuation Manager harnesses a GIS interface and powerful search capacity to calculate fair and accurate property values. Our live demo will walk through how to instantly find, assess, and report on key property tax and valuation data. So with that, I'd like to introduce our guest speakers today. First, my name is Brennan Middleton. I'm a part of the marketing team here at Avenue. I will be your host and moderator here today. I'll also be facilitating any questions, comments, or feedback that you may have throughout the presentation. So if you have feedback, we will have a short question and answer period directly following our demo and presentation today. You can use that chat feature here in WebEx to submit those to us. We'd love to hear from you, and we will address all questions, time permitting, at the end of the presentation today. So with that, I'd like to introduce first Avenue's business unit leader for our finance and tax group, Amy Walters. Amy is over 20 years of experience serving federal, state, and local governments. Amy's background is in geographic information system mapping. That includes data development, analysis, and application development. In the past 10 years, she has worked for or in partnership with a majority of the major providers of tax and CAMA solutions to state and local governments nationwide. So welcome, Amy. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Brennan.
Next, Paula McNutt-Richards, Avenue's business analyst manager of our finance and tax group. Paula is bringing over 20 years of experience implementing property valuation assessment, billing and collection systems, and computer-aided mass appraisal for large and small clients all across North America. She manages a business analyst team that is responsible for requirements gathering, documentation, technical analysis, and helps support the project implementation of our Clearview solution. She has extensive experience with property tax software and is extremely knowledgeable in Minnesota state-specific tax laws and requirements. So Paula, welcome.
Thank you.
And lastly, Avenue's senior client executive, Al Ailes. Al's bringing over 20 years of experience in state and local government as well. He's a certified project manager who has implemented large-scale applications across the globe. He's a frequent speaker and trainer and specializes in forming strategic alliances and programs that add value to the customer relationship. Prior to Avenue, Al led operations in the southern region for a multinational property tax and appraisal solution provider. So welcome, Al.
Thanks much, Brennan.
So next, let's briefly run through our agenda. First, we will give an overview of Clearview Valuation Manager and review the key features that we will highlight in our demo. Amy will provide an overview of the system as we dive right into the demo into our Clearview Valuation Manager itself. And then Paula will use the CAMA tool to edit and value properties. The three areas we'll focus on today will include valuing a commercial property using Apex Sketch and Marshall and Swift Blackbox. Next, we'll value a residential parcel using MICA. And then lastly, we'll add an extra feature to a parcel. Lastly, we'll discuss what next steps are and what success looks like for using Clearview Valuation Manager in your jurisdiction. And as I mentioned before, our presentation will be followed by a question and answer period that you can utilize our chat feature here in WebEx to submit that feedback. And we'll be sure to address those directly following our presentation today. So with that, I'd love to turn it over to Al Ailes, who will walk through our product features.
All right. Well, welcome. And again, as Brennan mentioned, thank you very much taking the time. I've spoken to a great many of you and in the process learned that you're doing a lot more with less. Oftentimes one or two people in the office that are trying to keep everything going. So thank you. Your time is valuable and I'm not going to waste any of it here. We're going to go through, I have the unique opportunity here to kind of kick things off and explain the Clearview Valuation Manager, CVM, the product and some of the benefits. And let's start with how we built it. Avenue invested a lot of money and resources, and to that end, we all find ourselves in a happened upon profession, right? I mean, between Paula, Amy, and I, we got 60 years of doing this, and oftentimes what you glean and what a company has, Avenue's sole benefit here is our resources, right? The domain expertise that we have and have built. A lot of times we're getting insights and have folks that are working for us that came directly from assessment offices, property tax offices, treasurers, auditors, and so forth. So, as is the story with me, growing up in local government, we have a good feeling and really a great feel for how CVM is going to help you work more efficiently. We're going to have an opportunity to show you how we built some of those intuitive features into the product. And it starts with workflows. We wanted to make sure that our Clearview products, our property tax products, all flowed seamlessly. And while they do use the same SQL Server database in certain instances, from the treasurer's auditor's office to the assessor's office, there's separation. There's role-based security in there. So we kind of define roles and define who has access to what information. But it allows us to create an end-to-end workflow process, and tasks that perhaps start in the treasurer's office, can end in the assessor's office, or vice versa. And it really gives you the opportunity to track an item or a task from beginning to end. And it's that streamlined workflow that's going to allow you to see any bottlenecks in the system. Amy's going to point out a couple of areas when she covers the product. One of the boxes in the top right-hand corner is called My Tasks. And again, all customizable and all user-definable. Another box is called Pool Tasks. So if you're a manager, you can see all of those items within the workflow and where they're being held up, if they are being held up. So the workflow functionality is a big one, allowing tasks and items to flow through seamlessly from office to office, not just inter-office. And the second thing, and probably the loudest that we've heard in working with local government, reports, queries, access to the data, right? It comes down to your ability to see your information and quickly bring it up. Oftentimes it's somebody at the counter with an assessment notice. A lot of times you're answering the phone and have to get access to the information very quickly. We're going to show you many ways to bring up queries, to query the database, the ability for wildcard searches. You'll have the opportunity to save those queries if it's something that you use on a regular basis. You can save your result set if that's a result set that you use often. And you can have multiple result sets up and running at the same time. So it really is flexible to allow you to work in different ways. And the end-to-end valuation and tax suite is really what I spoke about in the beginning here. It's just that opportunity to take into account actions that may start in the assessment office and end with the treasurer and auditor for the end-to-end collection and billing of property taxes. And truly, it's a holistic view that we took into account when we built the entity relationship diagram. All right, some of the product features, right? We're going to use Marshall and Swift. You heard the black box. We'll show you how we calculate values using that interface. We understand that there's going to be, again, to the queries, we understand that there's going to be a need to create custom queries and custom reports. And Amy's going to walk through how that process works, all the different areas for searching and exploring the data, and she'll cover just a few of the highlights there. We understand that mobile homes, being unique unto themselves and personal property, needed a place to do just dedicated mobile home or manufactured home maintenance for assessment. So we do have a screen and a different module that's broken out just for manufactured homes. And of course, those complex units, whether it be townhomes, condos, a high rise, whatever the case may be, the ability to accommodate those valuations, perhaps properties that sit on the same footprint or are multiple tiered, all that is built into the product. And I was going to say, I thought I got shortchanged. I think I have one more. There's only one more slide, and then we're going to go into the demo. No, you're fine. Really, what I guess the most important thing here is to understand the flexible reporting methods. We understand, and the products come with a number of canned reports. We know probably most of you have reports that you favor, information how you like to see it. To that end, you can build your own reports. We use a tool called SQL Server Reporting Services. SSRS is the acronym for that one. It's going to give you the ability to create those custom reports, and it's going to do it in a very easy and logical way. Instead of taking all of the fields, all the possible fields from the system and having to pull the information that you need, oftentimes fields that are calculated and are very difficult to discern if you're looking at the overall entity relationship diagram. SSRS has the ability to take smaller models, mini models is what they call them, and create just the fields that you need and pull the information from that mini model. So making it much easier for an end user to create a custom report or a custom view. You know, oftentimes the access to the IT resources is limited in most jurisdictions, and giving more flexibility and more tools to the end user is really the goal here. Adjustable UI, that's again the views. You're going to see when you log in, and again, going back to the rule-based security, the ability to have a UI or user interface exactly how you like it. You're going to have the fields that you want, the boxes that you want, the modules you want, however you want to describe it, in the order that you want to see them. Might not be the same view for everybody in the office. You might have somebody in the back office that just is doing a particular piece of work, and their UI might be a lot different than the general PC that's set up at the counter. Customizable PTM management console, again, utilizing that everyday functionality and tailoring it so that you're able to see the items that you want to see as quickly as possible and in the order that you want to see them. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Amy Walters, who's now, I got to do my 3 slides. And she's going to go through the hard work of going through the application in real time here and showing you and explaining in a bit more depth some of the concepts that we covered. Amy.
Yep, thanks, Al, and thanks to you all for joining us for the next session in our webinar series. I look forward to showing you an overview of Clearview Valuation Manager. I'm just going to give you a high-level overview, and then I'll pass it over to Paula to show you the CAMA tool. And I just want to start with doing a quick overview of the interface and some of the tools that are available in the general product. Some of this you might have seen last week if you were on our Property Tax Manager demo, but across the top we have a ribbon that changes based on the type of work you're doing. So I am logged in as an administrator, so based on my role, I have access to all of the tools, all of the reports, all of the data panels below. And, but I do have the ability to adjust what my screen looks like, and I can save those preferences. I have the ability to hide different screens. I can adjust the size of them. I can turn on and off some of these data panels by going over to my real property tab. So because I'm working in the real property area right now, that's how my screen, like all of my tools and processes that are available to me are based on that. So I also can turn on and off my data panes based on, as you can see, I have everything checked on, but I can turn on and off those panels. If I go to my Tools tab, I also can see some of the tools and to select from. Paula's going to show you in a minute, you can do a right click and add them to your quick panel. A lot of tools available to me to save my preferences over here. Paula's going to show you the CAMA tool. And then if I go to my panel, I can go into a process from here or also create a task. Al mentioned some of the workflow tools that are available to me over here. Again, as an administrator, I have access to all of my the pooled tasks that either are assigned to my team or assigned to a person. I can assign them from here. I also can work on something just by simply double clicking a process, or as you know up here, as you notice up here, I have my tasks that I'm working on. So on my left, I have my search and query tools, as well as my results windows. You can have multiple result sets open, just like I do here. I actually have 3 different result sets. And I have the ability to interact with each of these result sets. If I get a phone call and need to search something, I can go over to my simple search and type in an address, a name, something, and pull that information back quickly. And then when I'm done with the phone call, I can just simply double click a parcel down in my result set, and it's going to pull that information up again, and I can get back to work. So the quick query or simple query gives you a lot of different fields to pick from, but then I also have the ability to go to my detailed query builder, and I can search for any data within the application and display it how I want to see it as well. I have the ability to add one-to-many clauses to add additional information. For this one, it's a saved query I have, which is down here. I have my saved queries, and just by clicking on that saved query, it'll pull back that information for you so you can rerun it at any time. I also can save my results. So if I want to save just the properties that I pulled back in that query, I can save those in my result sets. And I can save them locally or share them with my team. In the result sets as well, you have the ability to combine result sets. You can export them to Excel. You can initiate workflows based on the entire result set on one record. You can do a selection set. So lots of flexibility and options in working with the searches and the results. And, I think there's a lot of capability to pull back information, save information, and, really just interact with the data as you see fit. Going back up to reports, in my reports tab, this provides access to all the reports that are available to me based on my role. And I can click on these, and these are a combination of custom reports we've built. We've replicated the select sort reports that you have in your current system. And they provide the ability to run the reports immediately, or I can add them to a queue. I can select different criteria based on the report. And just one thing too, as I'm looking at this record, you can see any information that's in red, or if there's a comment, I'll click on this parcel as well. Let's take a look here. So as you notice, I zoomed to this parcel. It's zoomed to the parcel in my map, and it gives me a couple warnings. And let's see, it looks like there's a comment here as well. So giving you some key information about the parcel without digging into the different details. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Paula to show you how to really do some work in the system.
Thanks, Amy. Just take control here of the screen. Perfect.
While you do that, I think it's important just to call out to the batch and the scheduling properties. I think I missed that on my slides, but that's an important one. If you have a report that's going to be pretty labor intensive to run, that's something that you can batch on a nightly basis and see that information next day.
Can everybody see my screen okay?
We can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thanks everyone for having me. What I'm going to walk through today is just as I thought I'd create a scenario where my boss, Amy Walters, has gone through and actually valued some properties out in the county and has brought back the paperwork for me to enter in two new buildings and add a new extra feature onto an existing record. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and actually queried for those properties, and I have those 3 in my result set. And if any of you have seen our product before, you would have known in order for me to add buildings or extra features, I would have gone into individual processes in order to add those records. So what we have created is a brand new tool called a CAMA tool. And what this allows to do is to go through that result set of 3 records. I can use this tool to navigate, just to view data in an unlimited record, unlimited data in my result set. I can look at the property information, I can look at the land, the building, extra features, and then I can navigate through each of those records to see that data. So we listened to everybody, and we heard that the process that we had provided before was not very efficient, and this is a new tool that we have now made it so it's easier to add and edit. So I'm going to go ahead. This is my very first property, and I'm going to go ahead and add in a commercial Marshall Swift building. So with our buildings, you have a main building, and whoops, spell check not on though. I'm going to enter in a hangar, and I'm going to go down here and enter in a section. And then from here, I'm going to pick the valuation method, pick the attributes that I need. So I'm just going to set up a simple commercial building. I'm going to go ahead and sketch it first. Sketching can be done at any time. It doesn't have to be done first. It can be done last. By selecting the sketch tool, it automatically launches the apex for me. And then I can just go ahead and draw my building. I'm not a very fancy sketcher, so I'm just going to draw rectangles. And I would then just pick my sub areas, drag that over, and then I'm going to exit that. And what you'll see here is that image of the sketch is automatically visible here in the right-hand side. And all of the sub areas that I have created would be available here in the sketch tab. And I would see all of them available to here. And then every single one of those units get updated, get added together, and we get updated into the area field for that section. There are times when sometimes maybe people don't have Apex installed in their machine, so some of the managers may not have it installed. And these images are quite small, so we have a couple choices. You can zoom in, but you can also double click on this, and it will bring it up. So this is a PNG file that's automatically generated. We don't store this in the database. We generate this on runtime, but it allows the user to bring that up into photo or paint, whatever a PNG is associated with, for people to be able to view that at a larger scale, because we all know that these are quite small. But you don't need to have Apex installed on your machine in order to be able to zoom into that. So for Marshall Swift Commercial, there's 2 basic things that absolutely need to be there in order to value Marshall Swift. We need a base cost. And what this base cost will do, Marshall Swift creates when you add an occupancy, which is what I'm going to do right here. So I'm going to add in a hangar. And I'm going to put in a height and depth automatically come from the default values. The classes, or your exterior walls, are defaulted based on the occupancy code that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and select class. Percentage, meaning 100% of that 6,000 square feet is allocated to the hangar. If I wanted to sketch it, but break it down into multiple occupancies, I could add additional occupancies here and just break down the percentage of that 6,000 square feet, which one of those would go to each of those occupancies. And that's all you need to do in order to value for Marshall and Swift. You'll also see when we're entering in information that if you do not have required fields filled in, you're going to see little icons here right beside the field. You're also going to see a drop-down list here giving you a list of the errors that you need to resolve prior to calculating it. So there's no reason, you're always going to know exactly what needs to get filled in prior to calculating. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the calculate button. What this is doing, because I just put the base cost in there, it's going to take the default exterior walls and heating that would come with that occupancy. And that's the value that Marshall and Swift will return for a base value. If you would want to have different exterior walls, you can add in additional components here and pick which exterior wall you want, or pick which heating that you want, so that it's not defaulting it to what comes with that occupancy and that class that you have selected. So what this did is automatically created a value of $572,040 for this commercial building. That is 100% Marshall and Swift. So you can, and what that is doing is that's actually going out. We make a web service call to Marshall and Swift. Marshall and Swift is using their tables from Marshall and Swift from a database. We didn't have to go to the paper copy or the book, take all of those rates out, put them into a table. That actually is provided by Marshall and Swift and is provided by Avenue when you want to have a certain year and quarter data. We would provide that to the county, and then that gets just installed, and then you are good to go to value properties using Marshall and Swift. So that's how easy it was to add a commercial building. Very simple and very easy to be able to get that value. I'm going to go ahead and save that. The next record is a property, and the manager went out and said that there is an existing family home on this, and during the inspection, it looks like they had added a gazebo. So I'm going to go ahead and add here. I'm going to go ahead. This is going to be valued in MICA. Go find gazebo in here, find which one I want. I'm going to do, it's an excellent gazebo. I'm going to put in the width and length, so it automatically creates my units for me, or I could have just entered those in, and I'm going to put in the actual year built. And I either have to, I want to go back here just a second so I can see those errors. So I can put in 2020, that is the value used. If I put in effective year built, that's the one it would use over my actual year built if there is one that they've made additions to it, or the effective agent is different than what the actual year built is. I can go ahead. This is really all I need in order to value this extra feature. I'm going to go ahead and value this. This goes out. Now these are actually using the rate tables that would be the same as what the county has in CAMA USA to calculate this gazebo. This automatically shows me my effective rate that's used and my calculated extra feature and my final feature. We have the ability to override that value. So let's say I actually want that to be a 5,000. I'm just going to put that out here, and I'm going to want that 5,000 to automatically go through all the way through 2021. When I calculate that, you'll see that my calculated feature, extra feature value is still there, but my final value that gets assigned to that extra feature is the override value. And if you look up here in my header information, this is where the extra feature, I had 5,000. One means I have one extra feature, and the value has been assigned it as 5,000, but you can always still see exactly what was calculated as well. And if you wanted to remove that, or when 2021, when it goes 2022, because that is over that, this will automatically go back to that calculated value. You don't have to go in here and remove that 5,000. The engine would use the calculated value after that fact. So you can add as many extra features here as you like. So go ahead and save that one. And then I'm going to go to my third one, where I'm going to add in a new building value MICA. So if this is just the family home, you don't have to put a value in there for the building name. I just always like to add one in there. So in here, the valuation method is MICA. The model, I'm just going to use single family here. Again, I can put in whatever actual year built here I want. Some default depreciation schedule is going to be set based on my model and type. My neighborhood code is automatically set, so I don't have to make any changes to that. What I do then is, like, where's all my exterior walls and my heating? What we have is all of that's now maintained in our components. So I'm just click my default component button. What this is going to go out, and again, based on my model and my type, it's going to go out and get all the default components that the county has set up for this type. What are all the different, we call them system codes, meaning foundation, exterior walls, interior walls, and what is the default code for this model and type that would be associated with each one of those system codes. So unlike CAMA USA, where you have two exterior walls that you can pick for, by default, we just add in one exterior wall, or we put in one flooring. But if there are multiple exterior walls or multiple flooring, the way that we allow you to do that, for one, I may want to go in and say, okay, hardwood 80% of this residential building is hardwood, and I'm going to add in 20% of flooring, or I could do 10% and 5. I can add in as many flooring as I want as long as it adds up to 100. The system does validate to make sure you add those to 100, so I can add another floor in here. And maybe the other 20% is carpet, and I'm just going to put 20% in there. So what this allows you to do, the benefit of this is it always sets that default ones. You can add additional ones if your percent is not 100, so you're not limited to just 2 exterior walls now, you can have unlimited. And you can add in additional components here that are not part of your default. So for instance, fireplace is not part of my default, but I can go in here and add in a fireplace into my system. And I can add in the number of fireplaces that I have. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick fireplaces. Another advantage of these components is that in CAMA USA, and we put it 2 in here, a lot of things we're adding to extra features that really are part of a building. And we're linking those 2 together through extra features so that they get added on as a building value. Once live, we could take those extra features that we have, add them as components, so that if you had an attached garage, or you had a decks, or you had anything that is adding value to the building, you could actually add them as components, update the table so they're going to get valued, and you would see them all here as components in one shot. So this is all of the building information, and you wouldn't have to maintain that extra features on a different screen. Everything could get included in here. It's still going to work the other way. If you're maintaining it as extra features as well, it's still going to work that way, but this is an extra option that you have. So I have all of those. I'm going to go ahead now and sketch this. And show you my awesome sketching skills here. There, we'll just do 70 by 50. And I'm going to just grab one of these sub areas. Again, these sub areas that are visible here would be the ones that match the sub areas for your county. I'm just going to go ahead and close that one. And again, that will get saved. And you'll see that again, automatically gets created as all adds that up. And right there is all I need to do in order to value this building. So very quickly, you can see the effective rate right there is $56.335. The calculated value is $197,191. If I go to my calculation screen, you can see the breakdown a little bit further for the total number of points, any factors that we have. We have a lump sum of 10,000. That was those 2 fireplaces that I added. What your RCN is and your RCNLD. Because this was a 2020 building, there is no additional depreciation applied to this. But obviously you would see that if it was an older building and you want to have depreciation. Along with that, we have the ability to add adjustments. So if you wanted to add a lump sum adjustment or a factor adjustment, those can be added in here. You can add comments for this particular building. And we also have, this is your assessment unit assessed valuation record. So right in here, if there was one valuation record, it would automatically have linked it to that brand new building that I created. But since there's 3, I would go in here and just say that I want to be associated with that residential assessment unit valuation record. And that's what I would then work with. So it gives me the option to create which one I want to associate this property with, this building with. And that's really how easy it is to enter this in now. And I know significantly faster than the processes that we had before, because I think in order for me to do that before, we probably would have had I don't know, 20-minute demo. And I think I probably did that in, 6 minutes or something. So the tool significantly faster for adding. You automatically get your header information up here as soon as you add something and recalculate it. So I think it's a huge advantage for entering information. This can also be used for viewing. So if you're not editing data, you can certainly go in here and just scroll through your records and your results set to see what these look like in this screen as well. Sure, I whipped through that. Was there any questions? Oh, I guess we'll wait for that to the end. So that's what I really wanted to show was a new CAMA tool and how that we actually made that so much easier to maintain the CAMA data in that new tool.
Fantastic, Paula. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was excellent. Both Amy and Paula, thank you for a very detailed demo and overview there. So Amy, Paula, Al, let's before we move into question and answer, let's wrap it up today by just talking about what next steps look like. What does success look like for CVM in your jurisdiction? Let's talk through how the tool can help leverage various industry standard tools, and most importantly, as Paula just covered right there at the end, the ability to reduce time spent making these valuation decisions. So with that, Amy, you want to bring us into the home stretch here?
Sure. Thank you, Brennan. And thank you everyone for the quick. We did a lot of quick overviews of our solutions over the past few weeks, and we welcome the opportunity to provide more detailed demos or answer more questions as needed. But really, we want to show how we have leveraged some of the industry standard tools such as Esri GIS, Apex Sketch, Marshall, and Swift. We do offer that integrated tax and valuation system. We do have the ability to integrate with other tax or CAMA systems. And then on top of that, we do have our Clearview valuation analytics that would sit on top of these solutions to help with, comp sales and sales ratios and those kinds of things. But we do want to help you reduce your time and have the best-in-class solution. And we're continuing to invest and grow this solution, and really look forward to talking to you about that.
And in the interim, until things kind of open up, I'd welcome a chance if there are anybody attending here that wants to see the product in a little bit more depth, has specific questions or one-on-one. I think we're going to flash my contact information here shortly. But while I was still able to travel, we would certainly do it face-to-face, but we could certainly work out something via WebEx. I may turn the camera on. It's been a little while since a haircut, but I'm not afraid. And we'll let everybody see. It's been since early March, if I'm honest. I don't look like I do in the picture anymore. But let's see if you would like to see any of this information in more detail. I'd welcome the chance to come in and set something up and show you and address your specific questions or concerns.
So with that, that's a great lead in, Al. It looks like we do have a few comments and a couple questions that came through as one as Paula was demoing, and Amy, one as you were kicking it off there. The first one that came through, and feel free, either of you, to jump in here. The first one said, what is your expected implementation timeline? I think we got this question the last couple of weeks. So maybe Al, you've addressed it a couple of times. You want to talk through the implementation timeline? Yeah,
I'm happy to. The implementation timeline is a tough one, not knowing, I guess, the specifics of the jurisdiction. Really, we're going to come, and I can give you kind of a range, but I want to explain the process. Really looking at that requirements and defining those requirements accurately are going to put us on the path to success. It's the basis for any project, and doing that requirements definition, going through a detailed design, coming up with a gap analysis of anything we may need to configure or customize, constructing, going through the construction process, testing and training, and then finally user acceptance training, and then a rollout. So those would be the milestones. And I think roughly it could take as quick as 6 months to get this product up and running in your jurisdiction, and perhaps for a little bit more complexity, upwards of 10, 12 months.
Great. Second comment here was, what valuation methods does this solution support?
I can take that one. So we currently support the CAMA USA MICA market cost. We have implemented the algorithms and the tables into the product, so we can match the values that you're getting today. We've also added in Marshall, Swift commercial and residential. We have an income model, so you can value the building, land, extra features using income. And we also have a condo model as well, so you can value them by condos.
Wonderful. It looks like another one just came through. How do you handle a building that has different occupancies or class codes?
So I can take this one as well. So there's a couple different options. If it is a Marshall Swift building, you can add multiple occupancies to that building. And as I had shown, I don't know if everybody remembers, you can add additional percentages to each of those occupancies to that one section. So let's say car dealership, lots of times there's the front showroom, and then you have the garage or the repair shop in the back. So you would take a building that really is separate occupancies. You can add 2 different occupancies to that one building, or you can break it up into 2 separate sections altogether and have 2 sections, each one of those sections having a different occupancies. Now, applying the class, you again have 2 choices. If you break it up into 2 separate sections, each one of those sections could then be associated with each of the valuation records, and those valuation records is where your class is maintained. You could also, if you have a single section where we did the multiple occupancies, you could take that one section and apply it to 2 different valuation records and apply a percentage of the value to go to the commercial class and one to maybe a exempt class. So there's different ways that the county can be set up when we migrate the data. Obviously, they're all coming as individual buildings, but as you use our product, you have the options to associate it with the different valuation records through those 2 different methods.
Great, thank you, Paula. So with that, I don't have any other questions coming through, but you can, if you do have feedback or thoughts or would like us to set up some time to go through a more customized version of this, you can reach out to us. Al, as you've heard from today, will be our main point of contact on the Avenue side. We will be providing a copy of this presentation slides and a recording of this presentation shortly after we get done today in your inbox. But if you missed our last 3 demos over the last couple of weeks, those are on our website. We'll have a link to those as well in our communication shortly, coming to you shortly. So again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to devote to us about 45 minutes today. We appreciate it. We hope everyone is doing well. We look forward to speaking with you again very soon. Thank you all.
Thanks much.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, everyone.